The past 15 days have been very intense, but it's been a really enriching experience. I've met many different artists who have been incredibly warm, open and interesting to talk to and inspiring in lots of different ways. It's not just about exploring the movement, it's exploring the consequence of that movement and how it makes you feel.
I have always worked at the sort of boundary of art and music, so I guess I'm pretty open to any interpretation of strange music, but I guess for me I've always tried to use sort of crossover of visual and sonic, and that's where I kind of sit, so I guess that's where I am at with it. But then if you do this, no sound will come out because you have to assign a volume. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you assign the volume
I've never met before Tom Richards, even though he's from the UK, and that's great because he moves in very different circles to me in the UK, so we probably would never have crossed paths in the UK, and so it's really quite exciting. So we're going to touch base back in England, in London when I'm there. The festival, I think, is very unique actually in terms of its atmosphere, and being a member of the audience last night watching Senatet from Denmark and experiencing the environment of the audience was really quite special. It felt very warm and generous. Quite often when I'm at new music festivals, I almost feel like everyone's there just to be critical. And I felt like a real sense of openness from the audience, and also in the way that they received the work. And I love the name of the festival because it's so much better than the such and such a contemporary music festival, because the wonderful thing about it being strange music is that actually it can be anything that's not what we expect necessarily, and something that counters our perspectives of what music can be. And I think that's a really great way of categorizing living composers and how they approach their work in different kinds of ways. Working on the pieces by the young Brazilian composers was really interesting because of my relationship to student composers in the UK, and seeing what kind of approaches they were taking. But also small things like the fact that their scores were handwritten, which is wonderful because I am always trying to get my students to handwrite their scores, and it's really difficult. They're so attached to computers. And the experience of making it was amazing, and particularly meeting and working with Raimo was an absolute joy. He's fantastic and I desperately want to work with him again. He's really an amazing communicator, an amazing creative, and his video was fantastic, and I really love his aesthetic. And it was really interesting for me because I've never worked with a videographer before. I always do my own videos. Made me feel like I actually want to more work with videographers now.
Should be like that. Just because I have to draw to think. No, it's like that. Here another one.
The main piece, obviously, we started off with this premise about climate change and the environment, and then there was this particular kind of satirical tourism map, and that kind of split Brazil's map into 4 sections, which was how we decided to explore the piece and what kind of structure we would have. So in our particular piece, we looked at fire burning in relation to the Amazon. We looked at toxic agriculture, pesticides and that kind of thing. And then we also looked at oil and how it affects the environment. And then we actually finished the work with a section that I asked a writer from England to write some text for me that I've worked with before, and I told her I was here. She was very excited, and she wrote the text for the final section, which focused on this idea of hypocrisy and how a lot of the criticism of people trying to do things for the environment now is that they are hypocrites.
Send osteopaths to rub their knees, send coal-based sugar substitutes, and if you can still find them, send all the pollinators hazmat suits.
And so it's really nice to be in that kind of music making being a joyous experience, which it really has been. And I felt incredibly welcomed by everyone, and it's been really quite beautiful.